The Milburn family had always been renowned for their deep affection for animals. Their warm and inviting home, nestled on the outskirts of town, was constantly filled with the delightful sounds of their beloved pets. However, it was Bingo, their faithful black Labrador, who held an extraordinary place in their hearts. From the moment he was a tiny pup, his mischievous playfulness had brought endless laughter and happiness to their household. Unfortunately, tragedy struck one fateful day when Bingo mysteriously vanished without a trace. Despite their frantic efforts to locate him, the Milburns were unable to find any clue of their cherished companion. With heavy hearts, they reluctantly accepted the possibility that he was gone forever. As time passed and life gradually returned to normal for the Milburn family, a lingering sense of loss remained for their beloved Bingo. Yet, on one stormy night, when lightning illuminated the sky with its jagged flashes of light, an eerie figure materialized on their doorstep, a figure that sent shivers down their spines. Bingo, or at least a dog that looked remarkably like him, made a sudden appearance in front of the Milburn family. However, there was an eerie quality to this dog, particularly in the way its eyes shone with an otherworldly glow. Despite their relief at Bingo's return, the family couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was amiss. As the days went by, the unease only intensified, with strange occurrences becoming a regular part of their lives. Mysterious sounds in the night, objects moving on their own, and a lingering smell of sulfur whenever Bingo was nearby, all added to the sense of foreboding that hung over the household. The Milburns couldn't shake the feeling that there was a dark presence lurking beneath Bingo's familiar exterior, and as time passed, the disturbances escalated, growing more frequent and more chilling. The once beloved pet now seemed to be harboring something malevolent, and the family found themselves facing a sinister force they couldn't quite comprehend. In the dead of night, the Milburn family awoke to a bone-chilling sight. There, at the foot of their bed, stood Bingo, his eyes ablaze with an eerie, otherworldly glow. The intensity of his gaze sent shivers down their spines, as if he could see into the depths of their souls. But as they cautiously approached him, he vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the faint echo of a haunting howl that lingered in the air. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but the Milburns' fear only grew. They couldn't shake the feeling that their once beloved pet had been overtaken by something far more sinister. Bingo was no longer the loyal companion they had cherished. He had become a vessel for a malevolent force, a demonic entity hell-bent on sowing chaos and despair wherever it went. Their safety and even their very souls were at stake. Desperate for answers, the Milburns sought out the help of a local priest known for his knowledge of the supernatural. With trembling hands and hearts heavy with dread, they poured out their harrowing tale, hoping that this holy man could provide them with some semblance of solace in their time of need. They clung to a glimmer of hope, praying that he would be able to banish the darkness that had consumed their once beloved Bingo. The priest's attention was unwavering as the family recounted the unsettling events that had unfolded in their home ever since Bingo's return. His expression grew more troubled with each detail shared, a clear sign of his deep concern for their well-being. Breaking the heavy silence that hung in the air, the priest's voice carried a weight of seriousness as he addressed the family. "My dear children," he began, his eyes reflecting the gravity of the situation. "What you are facing is no ordinary challenge. It is the sinister work of a malevolent demon, one that has corrupted your beloved pet and turned him into a vessel of darkness." The Milburn family sat in stunned silence as the priest delved into the chilling description of the entity that now resided within Bingo, a being that thrived on despair and anguish, preying on the innocence of souls until only shadows remained. Despite the grim revelations, the priest offered a glimmer of hope, a chance to purge their home of the demonic influence that had taken root in their cherished pet. With the priest's guidance, they would embark on a ritual of exorcism, a sacred endeavor to cast out the demon and restore peace to their once tranquil abode. As they braced themselves for the daunting task ahead, a sense of determination and resolve settled upon the family, knowing that they would face this malevolent force head-on, armed with faith and unity. With hearts heavy and hands trembling, the Milburn family gathered the necessary ingredients for the ritual, their minds filled with a blend of fear and determination. As the appointed hour approached, they assembled in their living room, the atmosphere thick with tension as they prepared to confront the malevolence that had invaded their home. Led by the priest, they initiated the ritual, their voices harmonizing as they invoked the power of the divine to expel the demon that resided within their beloved pet, Bingo. Hours passed as they chanted tirelessly, their voices growing hoarse from the intensity of their efforts to combat the encroaching darkness. Then, in an instant, it was over. With a final burst of radiant light, the demon was banished from Bingo's body, its furious howls reverberating through the empty corridors of the Milburn residence as it vanished into the night. Exhausted, yet relieved, the Milburn family collapsed onto the floor, their bodies trembling from the aftermath of their harrowing ordeal. However, as they gazed into Bingo's eyes, they witnessed something they hadn't seen in months. A glimmer of recognition, a flicker of the love that had once bound them together. Despite the indelible marks left by the demonic presence that had invaded their home, the Milburn family took solace in the knowledge that they had emerged victorious over evil, and their beloved pet was finally liberated from its clutches. Basking in the gentle radiance of the rising sun, they stood together, ready to confront any future challenges as a united front against the lurking darkness. In the days that followed, a newfound tranquility settled upon the Milburn household. With the weight of darkness lifted, Bingo, their cherished pet, seemed to reclaim his playful spirit, frolicking in the yard and cuddling with the family by the comforting warmth of the fire. However, beneath the surface of this return to normalcy, an unsettling unease lingered within the Milburns' abode. The memories of the harrowing ordeal they had endured at the hands of the demon continued to haunt their dreams, leaving them restless and cautious of the shadows that concealed lurking fears. Determined to forge ahead and leave the past behind, the Milburns focused on rebuilding their lives, their familial bond fortified by the shared experience they had overcome. Yet, despite their best efforts, an ever-present sensation of being watched persisted, a silent reminder of the darkness that still loomed just beyond their doorstep. Ensure that you monitor your pet's behavior closely to prevent any unfortunate incidents from occurring within the confines of your home. We kindly request you to engage with our content by liking, commenting, and subscribing to demonstrate your support for a small channel like ours. Thank you.